Now I had it in one hand, my index finger hooked under one of the canvas straps. Harry came behind us, hauling the nozzle of the fire hose, which ran back through my office, down the storage room steps, and to the drum where Dean and Percy were paying it out as fast as they could. "Hey, jaw like that?" Wild Bill asked. He was laughing like a kid at a carnival, laughing so hard he could barely talk. Big tears went rolling down his cheeks. "You come on 's fast, I guess you must've." "I'm currently cooking some turds to go with it. Nice soft ones. I'll have them out to y'all tomorrow." He saw that I was unlocking his cell door and his eyes narrowed. He saw that Brutal was holding his revolver in one hand and his nightstick in the other, and they narrowed even more. "You can come in here on your legs, but you'll go out on your backs. Billy the Kid is goin' guarantee you that," he told us. His eyes shifted back to me. "And if you think you're gonna put that nut coat on me, you got another think coming, old hoss." "You are not the one who says go or jump back around here," I told him. "You should know that, but I guess you're too dumb to pick it up without a little teaching." I finished unlocking the door and ran it back on its track. Wharton retreated to the bunk, his cock still hanging out of his pants, put his hands out to me, palms up, then beckoned with his fingers. "Come on, you ugly motherfucker," he said. "They be schoolin', all right, but this old boy's well set up to be the teacher." He shifted his gaze and his dark-toothed grin to Brutal. "Come on, big fella, you first. This time you can't sneak up behind me. Put down that gun, you ain't gonna shoot it anyway, not you, and we'll go man to man." "See who's the better fell." Brutal stepped into the cell, but not toward Wharton. He moved to the left once he was through the door, and Wharton's narrow eyes widened as he saw the fire hose pointed at him. "No, you don't," he said. "Oh no, you Dean," I yelled. "Turn it on. All the way." Wharton jumped forward, and Brutal hit him a good smart lick, the kind of lick I'm sure Percy dreamed of, across his forehead, laying his baton right over Wharton's eyebrows. Wharton, who seemed to think we'd never seen trouble until we'd seen him, went to his knees, his eyes open but blind. Then the water came, Harry staggering back a step under its power and then holding steady, the nozzle firm in his hands, pointed like a gun. The stream caught Wild Bill Wharton square in the middle of his chest, spun him halfway around, and drove him back under his bunk. Down the hall, Delacroix was jumping from foot to foot, cackling shrilly, and cursing at John Coffey, demanding that Coffey tell him what was going on, who was winning, and how dat grand foo new boy like dat Chinese water treatment. John said nothing, just stood there quietly in his too short pants and his prison slippers. I only had one quick glance at him, but that was enough to observe his same old expression, both sad and serene. It was as if he'd seen the whole thing before, not just once or twice but 1,000 times. Kill the water. Brutal shouted back over his shoulder, then raced forward into the cell. He sank his hands into the semi-conscious Wharton's armpits and dragged him out from under his bunk. Wharton was coughing and making a glub-glub sound. Blood was dribbling into his dazed eyes from above his brows, where Brutal's stick had popped the skin open in a line. We had the straitjacket business down to a science, did Brutus Howell and me. We'd practiced it like a couple of vaudeville hoofers working up a new dance routine. Every now and then, that practice paid off. Now, for instance, Brutal sat Wharton up and held out his arms toward me the way a kid might hold out the arms of a Raggedy Andy doll. Awareness was just starting to seep back into Wharton's eyes, the knowledge that if he didn't start fighting right away, it was going to be too late. But the lines were still down between his brain and his muscles, and before he could repair them, I had rammed the sleeves of the coat up his arms and Brutal was doing the buckles up the back. While he took care of that, I grabbed the cuff straps, pulled Wharton's arms around his sides, and linked his wrists together with another canvas strap. He ended up looking like he was hugging himself. "God damn you, big dummy, how dey doin' wid him?" Delacroix screamed. I heard Mr. Jingles squeaking, as if he wanted to know, too. Percy arrived, his shirt wet and sticking to him from his struggles with the water main, his face glowing with excitement. Dean came along behind him, wearing a bracelet of purplish bruise around his throat and looking a lot less thrilled. "Come on, now, Wild Bill," I said, and yanked Wharton to his feet. "Little walkie-walkie. Don't you call me that." Wharton screamed shrilly, and I think that for the first time we were seeing real feelings, and not just a clever animal's camouflage spots. Wild Bill Hickok was a no-range rider. He never fought him no bear with a bowie knife, either. He was just another bushwhackin' John Law. Dumb son of a bitch sat with his back to the door and got killed by a drunk.